welcome you all here today. My name is Steve Zeltzer with the Day Action Committee to free Julian Assange with United Public Workers for Action, and also I'm producer of Work Week, which is a radio show and on working people and labor issues. And the rally is part of an international day of action worldwide because of the trial that's going on today in London. And the fight to defend Julian Assange is an international issue for all people around the world. For all people, for all journalists around the world. Because Julian Assange, his fight to get the truth out in WikiLeaks was a fight to tell the truth to the people of the world about what the United States was doing in other countries and other companies and corporations that were operating around the world. So our action, our rally today is in solidarity for Julian Assange and all journalists, all truth seekers who are trying to get the truth out and putting their lives in danger. And we have Glen Greenwald as well, the journalist in Brazil who is being threatened by Bolsonaro because he's told the truth about the corruption of the government. And as we see today, internationally, repression against journalists is growing, even in San Francisco. Brian Carmody, who is an independent freelance journalist, released some documents about the death of the public defender, Jeff Adachi, and the police illegally raided his home and office, and judges signed a warrant on him, even though he's protected. Even though this journalist had protection, he was grabbed, his office and home was invaded, and guess what? There's no prosecution of the judges or police that did this. So here's a clear violation of the law. And what we're saying today is that the real criminals should be arrested and put in jail and put on trial. And it's not Julian Assange. It's not Chelsea Manning. It's not Glen Greenwald. These are the people that are being punished for telling the truth about what's going on. And this is a dire situation globally. I'm getting the truth out even about this virus. Coronavirus. I mean, it's very difficult to get the truth out. I mean, but if you listen to Trump today, he says everything's okay, everything's under control, don't worry. Well, that's something to be worried about. When Trump says it's okay, don't worry, it's under control, you know you have something to be worried about. So this struggle is an international struggle. We're rallying around the world. There are demonstrations in many cities around the world. And we're here to speak out to the people of San Francisco, the people of the West Coast and California. We stand with Julian Assange. So we say again, free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange.
Free Chelsea Manning.
Free Chelsea Manning.
Stop harassing journalists.
Stop harassing journalists.
Stop arresting free speech advocates. So I want to also talk about the support by unions, because the San Francisco Labor Council passed a resolution to call for the freedom of Julian Assange and actually the prosecution of the war criminals. Because one of the things that they really did not like was the fact that their documents were released showing that the United States was actually assassinating journalists in Iraq. And of course those people who did that criminal act were not prosecuted, it was covered up. So there was actually a corruption, obstruction of justice. The criminal act was covering up a crime. Because that what was going on in Iraq. It was a crime. And of course the United States government has committed acts against journalists. They did a bombing in Iraq. They did a bombing of a building that contained journalists. So they don't want the truth to get out. They don't want people to know what is happening about the wars that are done on our name to supposedly bring democracy to the people of the world. The United States has tried to so-called bring democracy since 1889 when it invaded Puerto Rico, when it invaded Cuba, when it invaded the Philippines to bring democracy. And Mark Twain at that time set up a group called the Anti-Imperialist League. He said, why should the United States be going to other countries to bring democracy? The people in these other countries can run their own affairs.
Exactly.
The people in other countries can bring their own democracy. It's not up to the United States to bring democracy. So this is a long history, and that is again the reason that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks are under attack, because he was showing the real world, the real criminal world of the United States government and the corporations that the United States government works for. Welcome.
Thanks, Steve. My name is Kendra Locke. I am an artist, an activist, and an author. I am here because of my good friend Jack, who is the smartest, bravest, rewrite ancient history to fit their current agenda. Let us be the ones to correctly write history. Let's start by getting Julian Assange freed and exonerated. Let's be the coalition that makes it safe to be honest and vocal among our peers, governments, corporate cabals, and other evil entities. We must keep the conversation alive about Julian Assange. We must also do exactly what Julian and Chelsea did so many years ago. We can break this toxic cycle of oppression that silences the brave and the vocal. Thank you. He's got a whistle to blow! Okay. I have a little bit more. As we begin to do that, let's embrace those we quarrel with, disagree with, and let's begin to understand that our divisiveness is part of their agenda. Let us not play into the role that they created for us. Break out, break away, and begin to strategize for safety, freedom of speech, and collaborative engagement. Let us band together to forge a coalition that overtakes the establishment. Yep, I did not grow up in the 60s, but I'll use that phrase. But it is the establishment that continues to silence us. Free Julian Assange and turn him into our school children's role model so that they too will feel safe to expose fraud, corruption, and evil governments. Peace, love, and unity to you all. Let's rally together for the safety of Julian Assange and all other whistleblowers. I compel each of you to stay alive, stay healthy and safe. Remember what your birthright is, and that is to stay alive long enough to silence our oppressors. ALIVE stands for activate, liberate, investigate, vindicate, and expose. And you can look for Jax and me if you want to join ALIVE. We're very serious about getting this nonprofit started. I've also written a pretty decent book. It's called Brave New Future. You can find it on Kindle. And again, thanks for all of you showing up today. It takes a lot of guts and courage to stand out here on the street to do this work. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Yay! Woo!
Free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange!
Free Chelsea Manning.
Free Chelsea Manning!
Hey everybody, I'm Constance Rose. I'm the founder of Advocacy for Humankind, and I apologize for the paper, but I'm old and I take CBD oil, so there you go. Okay, first a little bit about our organization. It ties in. Advocacy for Humankind is... Close to your mouth. Right into the mic? Like that? Advocacy for Humankind is working hard on many levels to end crimes of coordinated stalking that insidiously strip innocent U.S. citizens of their right to purposeful, fulfilling, and meaningful lives. Today, if you are a whistleblower, and maybe even if you aren't, there is a chance that you could be subjected to serious criminal abuses that are ongoing and life-threatening. Recently, Ronan Farrow and Susan Fowler, Uber whistleblower, have written books and reported to major news outlets their ordeals with coordinated stalking. We have brochures on hand today. If anybody wants to find out more about this serious issue, you can talk to Byron or Ilona or anybody with these beautiful t-shirts. But our cause is just one piece of a much bigger picture. Right now, we are facing an unparalleled civil rights crisis in the U.S. Ongoing polarization of our political parties and major media outlets seems determined to divide us and pit us against each other. Many of our fundamental human rights as U.S. citizens are vanishing into thin air without our consent and without our knowledge. Today's protest is about freedom of speech and freedom of the press, but we all know that our right to privacy has all but vanished, and there are many more rights that are slowly and systematically being eroded. It is more important now than ever before that we come together at events like this and send a strong message that it is not okay to take away our rights on any level and for any reason, and that our whistleblowers are national heroes that figures are speaking out against the arrest of Julian Assange and warning of its implications. This includes Amnesty International, the New York Times, the ACLU, and the Nation magazine. All of them are in opposition of U.S. government indictment of WikiLeaks for publishing truthful information and speaking truth to power. They believe, as we do, that Julian Assange should not be extradited or subjected to transfer to the U.S., where he will certainly face threats of serious human rights violations due to his work with WikiLeaks. Though far from perfect, Julian Assange is a hero for exposing to the public, for exposing to the public our government's efforts to conceal many of its most heinous and corrupt activities. The documents leaked by Assange and WikiLeaks have served as a crucial stepping stone in prompting many individuals and organizations to advocate for our constitutional rights and have led to the public's demand to be informed. Wait for that guy to go by. I can't compete. As taxpayers, we give our money to promote the well-being of not only U.S. citizens, but all global citizens. If our money is not used accordingly, it is the right of the people to know. Julian Assange let the entire world know. It's come out recently that the CIA spearheaded a decade-long political conspiracy against Assange by the American, British, and Australian governments. U.S. imperialism and its allies want to silence him for life for the publishing of hundreds of thousands of documents laying bare the war crimes and other criminal activities of the U.S. and its allies around the world. They are desperate to prevent further damning leaks by courageous whistleblowers and journalists as they prepare new wars, assassinations, and coups. Here we go. Who will stop the intelligence agencies, the Department of Defense, and the most powerful and frightening conglomerate in the world, the U.S. military-industrial complex? All consistently show a pattern of killing the messengers who bravely expose wrongdoing on a global level. We, the people, are now forced into a position where it is up to us to take our country back. If we don't stand up and speak out and expose corruption, those conglomerates will surely rip our lives and liberties to shreds. We need to take massive political action. We have to show up at every event like this that we can. We need to build coalitions and to collectively speak truth to power. As Julian himself said, every time we witness an injustice and do not act, we train our character to be passive in its presence and thereby eventually lose our all ability to defend ourselves and those we love. So I'm going to repeat that. This is what Julian Assange said. Every time we witness an injustice and do not act, we train our character to be passive in its presence and thereby eventually lose all ability to defend ourselves and those we love. God bless you all. Keep showing up and keep speaking out. Thank you.
Yes, hi, my name is Carol and I've spoken at these events before. And what I really want to emphasize as well is the international protests around the entire world. Thousands of people in England, in Australia, in Germany, in Italy, in every country you can name have been supporting Julian Assange for 10 years. And as far as suddenly the New York Times has just, and Amnesty International, who 10 years refused to acknowledge that Julian Assange was a political prisoner, they all of a sudden have discovered that he is a political prisoner and they're jumping on the bandwagon. These people are such hypocrites. It's unbelievable. And I think that it's really important that we're here. I think that there should be more people here. This is San Francisco, and they're all standing here. They probably all support Nancy Pelosi and think she's wonderful. Well, she's not. She's just as much of an imperialist as any of the rest of them. And I think that more people should be here And I think that we should set a better example, San Francisco, but I am so pleased that at least this bunch of people is here, so I'm really pleased. And I took off my lunch break because I was going to be here, and so, but I think it's really important that we're all here. And I think that we should really, Kristen Hafninson from WikiLeaks in his speech in London called this the dark forces, and he says this isn't science fiction, these people, these governments are the dark forces against humanity, and we must fight them. As Mario Savio said that I recently read, you've got to put your bodies on the wheel and make the machine stop. And you have to prevent it from ever working again. And he said that in 1963, and he was right, and he's still right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a professional full-time human resources specialist at a successful high-tech company in Burlingame, California for 27 years. I am deeply involved in global climate change mitigation. I live and walk a solar energy lifestyle. I am an activist for the homeless and those individuals who have been human trafficked. I am an active member of the ACLU Northern California. Recently, I'm on the board. I started working with the board. I am here today on behalf of ALIVE, an activism support network. So today, I want to bring awareness to 7 different people. Actually, 6 people and then 1 as a group. Number 1, Julian Assange, who is incarcerated at Belmarsh Prison in London. Number 2, Chelsea Manning, in prison in Alexandria Detention Center in Virginia for refusing to testify in WikiLeaks in the Assange inquiry. She's not going to lie on him. Edward Snowden, American whistleblower who leaked classified information from the NSA while he was a CIA employee and is seeking to extend his residence permit in Moscow. Susie Dawson, have you heard of her? Have you heard of Susie? No. She is a New Zealand resident and journalist with 2 children who is seeking asylum in Russia. Her life is being threatened for her involvement in the Occupy movement and evolving it into an activist and walking her own walk and her talk. Number 5, John Kirikou, the CIA officer turned whistleblower who served 2 years in prison. Rhonda Pence, a journalist in Washington, D.C. metro area who is seeking shelter in an undisclosed location. Her life is being threatened for being a journalist. Rhonda is a truth teller, and she reported on Julian Assange. Rhonda has endured what we call, in this group, no-touch torture to this day. She is down to skin and bone and has many medical issues. I am personally involved in getting her to safety in an underground railroad, and I have spent thousands of dollars getting her to safety and medical care.
Thank you. Good job, honey.
Number 7, a group of journalists and American citizens and other human beings around the world who remain nameless and are being imprisoned, rendered homeless, and are targeted and tormented at the hands of their government and nefarious individuals for being truth tellers. What does the loss of these rights to these individuals I just mentioned represent to you and me? Does anyone know? Our freedom of speech is being attacked. Our freedom of the press is being attacked. Our civil rights are being attacked. Nils Meltzer, he's the lawyer for Julian Assange and reporter, says that a murderous system is being created before our very eyes. He has never seen a comparable case like this. As a UN expert, Nils is sounding the alarm again that Julian Assange's life may be at risk. More than 60. That's 60. 5-9. Next. 60. Doctors have written an open letter saying they fear that Julian Assange's health is so bad that he could die inside jail. Julian is not getting sunlight psychologically at risk. A questionnaire was sent out from PAX International, a nonprofit organization in California, from Julian Assange, requesting information from American citizens asking if they've been assaulted with no-touch torture weapons. I am one of those respondents who answered in the affirmative. We believe that Julian is being radar waved too while he's in prison. This is a very dangerous and cumulative form of torture being conducted on innocent civilians in America. And Julian Assange, I am reasonably certain that Julian is being tortured. His bio effects are consistent with radar torture. Pamela Anderson said on The View that Julian's health is really deteriorating. He has lost about 30 pounds and he was thin at that point. Pamela stated that Julian warned her that the smear campaign would happen. She said that Julian is the world's most innocent man and he deserves our support.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you a question. Why is Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning, who revealed our government's war crimes and torture, being in prison, and not those who engaged in the war crimes? Think about that. It's ridiculous. The Trump administration is exercising jurisdiction to bring charges against a journalist who is not a U.S. citizen and who has published material from outside the United States. It's wrong. Journalism is being turned into espionage. This is a very serious violation of our freedom of speech. WikiLeaks, launched in 2006 by Julian, is a whistleblowing site. I'll just get right to it. Some of the things he's published: the Guantanamo files of torture and lies, Afghan war diary and Iraq war logs of torture, rape, murder, of hiding civilian deaths, collateral murder video of war crimes, murder of journalists. Chelsea, thank you for that one. She gave us that. Cablegate, numerous incidents of wrongdoing. And the TISA, the TTIP and TPP, this is a disenfranchising the public from participating in trade deals, and it's undemocratic and manifests a profound disregard to the people. What can you do to help? I want to ask you. You can sign petitions online for Julian Assange and Chelsea. You can donate to any of these people online to help pay for legal expenses and basic food and shelter. You can do something that requires bravery. You can fight back on global privatization issues. This is extremely important. You can stand up for these causes. You can protest like you are today. Get involved. Do you all remember Rosa Parks? She stood at the back of the bus. Or she sat in the seat at the back of the bus, and a white man wanted her seat. And she knew she would be arrested, and she refused. How many of you today can do something that's to stand up for your freedom if you're arrested? I will. I'm prepared to go down in history to get my freedom of speech and stop the insanity that's going on to our Americans. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I don't know how many know this, but in Oakland on Fruitvale and MacArthur, every Friday we have a vigil for Julian and Chelsea. And we have really pretty pictures up there, and we have all kinds of, almost everything that's said here. And it's every Friday at 4:30 to 6 now. We changed it because it's a little later. 4:30 to 6. Fruitvale and MacArthur. And usually we have only 3 of us, but sometimes we've had about 5 or 6. And what's neat about it is that people driving by, we get a lot of thumbs up, and we have a leaflet we hand out to people. And, it's really a good deal. So please join us. Fridays, every Friday, 4:30 to 6.
Hi, I just wanted to mention that if you didn't hear about it, Nancy Pelosi was in Laredo, Texas. She was in Laredo, Texas this weekend. She's supporting a candidate who is anti-choice, who has gotten money from the Koch brothers against a progressive, this gal Cisneros. And why are we supporting a woman who is using money to fly to Texas and support candidates who are funded by the Koch brothers. So this is like crazy, and we should be at her office every day and saying that, you know, you do not represent us, you are a corporate pig.
Ours represents, I'm Cynthia Papermaster with Code Pink Women for Peace. We've had a campaign to support Julian Assange for a very long time, and for Chelsea Manning as well, before Chelsea was Chelsea. We were at the trial, but for Julian Assange, what we have is a international petition to get Julian freed and to prevent extradition, which is the trial that's going on today, the hearing that's going on today in London. There is talk that Julian may commit suicide if he's extradited to the United States. I love the rumor. And we can't have that happen. The United States will not hold a fair trial for Julian Assange. We know this. They are out to railroad Julian Assange to prison forever, or even worse, execution. And we cannot have that happen. So we say no to that, and we say enough persecution of Julian Assange. Release Julian Assange. That is what Code Pink is asking for, and that is what needs to happen. Julian Assange has committed no crime against the United States.
Or anyone else.
Or anyone else. Thank you very much, Ilana. No, it's not a crime to be a journalist. It's not a crime to share information that is necessary for us in a democratic free world. Is this a democratic free world, or isn't it? No. Do we have freedom of the press, or don't we?
No.
Okay, but we need to have freedom of the press, and we need to insist that Julian Assange is released and not extradited to the United States. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you very much for organizing the rally. Code Pink is with you 100%.
No.
Free Julian Assange. No extradition.